just a few moments, we'll pay tribute to these heroes with the documentary, The Tragedy of Bataan. Narrated by Alec Baldwin, the film uses interviews, diaries, and rare photos to chronicle the fall of the Philippines and the Bataan Death March. As a special follow-up to the documentary, you'll meet some of the New Mexicans who survived their ordeal and returned home. You'll see how they lived lives of silent patriotism as husbands, fathers, businessmen, professionals, and community leaders. As the survivors of Bataan tell their stories, let us all remember their sacrifice. We will never forget those who paid the price for our democracy with their last full measure of devotion.
We're the battling bastards of Bataan. No mama, no papa, no Uncle Sam. No aunts, no uncles, no nieces. No pills, no planes, no artillery pieces. And nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a damn.
Major General King was faced with two choices: surrender or continue to fight. But his men could not counterattack, and they could no longer defend themselves. Casualties were already high. They were without ammunition and hope. The men knew the end was coming soon.
April 8th, 1942. The Nips have broken through the line again. Many of our men are so ill from undernourishment and dysentery that they can no longer hold a gun. We cannot hold out much longer. The promise has not come. Diary, Captain Albert Brown.
The men on the front lines were ordered to stack and destroy their weapons. To avert a massacre, Major General King sent word to the Japanese that he was willing to negotiate a surrender.
We begged them, don't make us surrender. Let us fight. Let us go to the mountains and fight like guerrillas. No. The general says that we must surrender, because if we don't surrender, they're going to kill some general down in somewhere. Let them kill him.
When the word came that we were going to surrender or be surrendered, first of all, I think everyone accepted that as almost a relief until it soaked in of what surrender actually meant.
Many of the men knew the Imperial Japanese Army did not treat prisoners well. The men knew what had happened in China at the rape of Nanking. They were being surrendered to an uncompromising enemy, an enemy that did not believe in the Geneva Convention.
It was a nightmare. They lined us up, and one Jap would search us. The Jap had wristwatches from his wrist up here. He took away from it. In fact, I didn't have a watch. I had a class ring. It's gone. But the tears that the soldiers shed that day, they lined us up, and they brought the American flag, laid it on the ground in front of us. Then they marched the Japanese troops over it. Now let me tell you, that's hard to take. Very hard. See that flag being trampled by the enemy. And the death march started from that point.
When you started on that march, did you know where you were going or how long you were going to go?
We didn't know anything. We just started on the march, and they pushed us on. We didn't know how far we were going to go. We didn't know anything.
Totally outnumbered, outgunned, with no reinforcements, no resupplies. A lot of them sick with every kind of tropical disease you could think of, and they were still willing to fight, every one of them. And had they received the resupplies and had they got the reinforcements, it might have been a whole different story. But they didn't. But in spite of that, they they held their ground. And not one of them surrendered. Not one of them surrendered. General King surrendered all of them.